お許しくだされとも。我らは敗北に向かう道を進まれる殿に従うことはできませぬ。
命を変えぬとあらば、拙者今ここで腹を切りまする。
わしはすでに決断を下しておる。
力はまことに無駄死にを選ばれるのでございまするな。今生のお別れにございまする。決して殿を見捨てるでないぞ。たとえ殿が御自ら命をお捨てになったように見えてもじゃ。解釈せよ。
虎長様。
ごめん。
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to another Shogun Breakdown. Episode 8, The Abyss of Life, is officially in the books, and it was one of the most explosive and emotionally charged episodes of the series, as we said goodbye to heavy fan favorite Hiromatsu. And it seems like the hits just continue to keep on coming for Toranaga. First, he loses his son, and now he loses his most trusted general, in what appeared to be a meaningless sacrifice at first, but was then later revealed to be part of a much larger plan enacted by Toranaga. And I think a lot of us did have a feeling that Toranaga did still have one card left up his sleeve that he was getting ready to play. I think a lot of us had a feeling he was not going to really give up, and in this episode, his grand plan is starting to be revealed. The episode starts off with Toranaga and company arriving in Edo, with Toranaga visibly ill from the journey, where we learn that he has been giving a mourning period of 49 days to mourn the loss of his son before he has to turn himself over to Osaka. I really enjoyed the line from Yabushige where he talks about Nagakado's death and how he ranks it a little bit lower than boiling alive, but a little bit higher than being eaten by dogs. With this episode in particular being much more of a serious tone in nature, it's nice to still get these little moments of comedic levity from characters like Yabushige and Blackthorne every once in a while. And we also get a pretty interesting scene between Mariko and Blackthorne, where Toranaga hands the journals back over to Blackthorne, the journals that we saw earlier in the season that condemn Blackthorne and prove some of his skullduggery deeds at sea, with Blackthorne also making one final attempt to persuade Mariko to not travel to Osaka with Toranaga, fearing for her safety. But Mariko is, of course, determined to see this plan through to the end. And perhaps Mariko sees this as her opportunity to finally get the out that she has been searching for so many years, and finally find the death that has eluded her up until this point. We also get a very nice funeral procession for Nagakado, a funeral that Toranaga is surprisingly absent for, either due to the illness that he suffered in the trip, or perhaps even the guilt that he is feeling knowing that he did not bring his son in on his plan, which ultimately led to his death. We also get a very interesting scene between Blackthorne and Yabushige, with Blackthorne sensing that Toranaga is most likely going to be killed. Blackthorne is making an attempt to try and forge new alliances in the wake of his predicament. And even though Yabushige denies his request, you totally get the feeling that Yabushige wanted to accept, but didn't out of sense of not looking like a traitor in front of Omi and the rest of Toranaga's men. And I really enjoyed the callback to the very first episode in the series where Blackthorne and Yabushige first met on the cliff. And even though these characters are far from friends, you can still see there is a little bit of a bond that they share between the two, with Blackthorne seemingly having a deep level of respect for Yabushige after watching him nearly take his own life in order to keep his fate in his own hands. And I really enjoy these scenes between Blackthorne and Yabushige. If I had to pick two characters that are probably my favorite to see together on screen, it would probably be these two. They have great chemistry together, and both actors are delivering outstanding performances. And I love how Toranaga totally predicted that Blackthorne would end up going to Yabushige after being released from his service, showing yet again what a great tactician that Toranaga is and anticipating others' moves. But for me, what this episode really boiled down to, and what I really enjoyed the most, was the dynamic between Hiromatsu and Toranaga, with them seemingly being at odds the entire episode, with Hiromatsu and the rest of Toranaga's vassals desperately trying to convince him not to turn himself over to Osaka, only to later find out that they have been playing the long game the entire time. And I must say, Toranaga played it absolutely beautifully. He even had me convinced at certain points that he might actually be giving up. And I really enjoyed one of the earlier scenes between Hiromatsu and Toranaga, where he points out to Toranaga that he doesn't look like himself. He sees the look of defeat in his eyes, a state that we hadn't really seen Toranaga be in at all in the series up until this point, where here, in this moment when it seems like he is truly hitting rock bottom, we really started to see the look of defeat on Toranaga's face. At least at first, until we find out that it was all just one big ruse in order to convince Osaka that Toranaga truly is giving up. Which also begs the question, who exactly was in on this ruse apart from Hiromatsu and Toranaga? And was Toranaga's brother in on the plan the entire time? Or did Toranaga simply foresee his brother's betrayal and act accordingly? Especially with the revelation that Ochiba seemingly had a hand in Toranaga's brother betraying him. Did Toranaga perhaps know from the very beginning that Ochiba and Ishido would reach out to his brother in order to strike an alliance to keep Toranaga and Sakai from joining together? Or was the brother a part of the plan the entire time? And I would definitely love to get your thoughts and comments down below. Do you think Toranaga's brother was in on the plan from the beginning, or did Toranaga simply anticipate his betrayal? But next, we get one of the most heart-pounding scenes in the entire series, where the conflict between Hiromatsu and Toranaga seemingly comes to a head, with Hiromatsu pleading with Toranaga one last time to not give up and not throw away everything that they have fought for up until this point, with Hiromatsu delivering an ultimatum to Toranaga to stand and fight, or he will commit seppuku. And I can't state enough what a phenomenal performance both of these actors delivered in this scene. This might be one of the most well-acted scenes in the entire series. Especially with the reveal later on that this was all one big theater for Toranaga's enemies to truly believe that he is giving up. It just makes this scene that much more impactful and just puts a big emphasis on just how loyal Hiromatsu was to Toranaga, where even Buntaro, Hiromatsu's son, had no idea what was really going on, as Buntaro himself tried to follow his father in death, only to be denied, similar to how he has been denying Mariko the release of death as well. Overall, it was just a very beautiful scene and incredibly well acted, but from this point on, how exactly will Toranaga go forward without his most trusted general and his right hand? Now that the one person that he could truly trust and count on is gone, Toranaga is seemingly alone once again. All in all, it definitely was a heart-stopping episode, and seeing the lengths that Hiromatsu was willing to go in order to ensure Toranaga's victory, or help him in his quest for victory, it really just drives home the fact how valued it is to have that one person that you could count on in times like this. And from here on out, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role Blackthorne is going to play, now that he and Yabushige seemingly did strike up a bargain to ally together. Where exactly will he fit into these final two episodes? And I really did enjoy the scene we got with Blackthorne in this episode, where he tries to return to his crew, only to seemingly be rejected by them, which probably wasn't the reunion he was hoping for. But overall, it was another phenomenal episode, and I cannot wait to see how the story concludes over these final 2 weeks. And definitely leave your thoughts and comments down below. How did you guys like Episode 8, and do you think Toranaga's brother was in on the ruse from the beginning? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like on your way out, and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content. And don't forget to come and hang out with us live every Monday and Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our live Shogun discussion. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and a huge thank you to all of the channel members, and we will see you on the next one.